There's a town in Pennsylvania where the ground has been on fire since 1962. There's a town in Alaska where everyone, literally everyone, lives in one building. There's a town in West Virginia where Wi-Fi is illegal. And there's a town in Texas where a fake Prada store in the middle of the desert is the main attraction. All of these towns have one thing in common. The locals do not want you to move there. 7 towns, starting right now. 1. Marfa, Texas. Population 1,800. Middle of the Chihuahuan Desert. 8 hours from Dallas. And somehow, one of the most talked about small towns in America. Here's what happened. Artist Donald Judd moved there in the 1970s because it was cheap, remote, and nobody would bother him. He built permanent art installations. Other artists followed. Then galleries. Then boutique hotels. Then people writing articles about boutique hotels. Then people reading articles about boutique hotels and showing up. Then, presumably, a podcast about the people who read articles about boutique hotels. By 2020, a town of 1,800 people had more written about it per capita than most American cities. There is also a fake Prada store in the desert outside Marfa, a permanent art installation shaped like a luxury boutique with actual Prada merchandise inside that has never been open for business and never will be. This is considered normal in Marfa. This tells you everything you need to know about Marfa. The locals who were there before the art boom are not thrilled. Property values went from "you can buy a house for nothing" to median prices around $350,000. In the middle of the Texas desert, 8 hours from anywhere. The people who lived there for the quiet and the cheap got neither. They got a fake Prada store and a lot of people taking photos of it. So when locals say they don't want more people moving there, they're not being unfriendly. They watched their town transform around them, and they'd like it to stop. Marfa is genuinely extraordinary. The night sky is one of the darkest in America. The landscape is alien and beautiful. The art infrastructure for a town this size is absurd. If you go as a visitor. The locals have earned the right to that boundary. 2. Green Bank, West Virginia. Population 143. No Wi-Fi, no cell service, no microwaves, no cordless phones. Not because the infrastructure hasn't arrived, because it's illegal. Green Bank sits inside the National Radio Quiet Zone, a 13,000 square mile area around the Green Bank Telescope, one of the largest steerable radio telescopes in the world. Any radio frequency interference could corrupt the telescope's data, so the federal government banned it. All of it. 143 people live in a town with no smartphones, no Netflix, no background noise from the modern world. Just the telescope, the mountains, and each other. Imagine moving to Green Bank and realizing on day 1 that you cannot check the weather app, cannot text your mother, and cannot Google whether that mushroom in your backyard is edible. You just have to look at the mushroom and make a decision, like an animal. Now here's where it gets interesting. People have been moving to Green Bank specifically because of the quiet zone. People with electromagnetic hypersensitivity, a condition where they report symptoms from Wi-Fi and cell signals, have relocated there seeking relief. The locals call them Wi-Fi refugees. And the original residents, the farmers and the families who've been there for generations, have had to share their town with people who came specifically for what they always had. People who moved to escape the modern world and immediately started telling everyone on the internet about it, from somewhere else, before they moved. They're polite about it, but they didn't ask for the attention. Green Bank is one of the most genuinely unique places in America. The observatory offers tours. The silence is real. If you want to understand what American small-town life felt like before smartphones, Green Bank is the closest thing that still exists. 3. Bozeman, Montana. Bozeman didn't used to be on anyone's radar. Then it was. Then housing prices went up 70% in 3 years. And now, longtime residents, the ones who moved there 20 years ago because it was affordable and beautiful and nobody had discovered it yet, are watching the same thing happen to their town that they watched happen to other towns before they left. It's like a curse that follows people who find nice places. They find a nice place, tell 2 friends, those 2 friends tell 4 people, those 4 people write a Substack, and suddenly a town in Montana costs more than Philadelphia. Bozeman has become expensive in a way that feels almost personally offensive given that it's in Montana. The median home price is around $620,000. A two-bedroom apartment runs $1,800 to $2,200 per month. In Bozeman, in Montana, where the nearest Whole Foods is a 2-hour drive. I am not saying that's relevant. I'm saying it's a data point. There's a specific kind of grief in watching a place you moved to specifically because no one knew about it become a place that everyone knows about. Bozeman locals know this grief personally. Several of them are currently experiencing it while paying $2,000 a month for an apartment in Montana. Bozeman is still genuinely excellent. Montana State University, Yellowstone 90 minutes away, skiing at Bridger Bowl, one of the more vibrant small city downtowns in the Mountain West. The prices reflect what it actually is. Whether those prices work for you is a different calculation. 4. Point Reyes Station, California. Point Reyes Station, 800 people, 35 miles north of San Francisco, one of the most protected coastal landscapes in California. Point Reyes National Seashore surrounds it on 3 sides. Dairy farms that have been operating for 100 years. A main street that has one of the best bookstores on the West Coast, and a butcher shop that locals treat like a civic institution, and a community that has, quietly and consistently, resisted the kind of development that has transformed every other town within 50 miles of San Francisco. They haven't always won those battles, but they keep showing up to fight them. The locals here aren't resistant to outsiders out of hostility. They're resistant because they've watched what happened to every other town in Marin County, and they've decided they'd rather have the argument than accept the outcome. Point Reyes Station is worth visiting for the oysters alone. Tamales Bay Oyster Farms. Fresh from the water. Drive out, eat oysters, hike the seashore, buy a book, then go back to wherever you came from, like a respectful guest. Quick one. If you're finding this useful, subscribe. The next town on this list actively advertised itself as a place that doesn't want you, and somehow that made it more popular. 3 more towns coming up. 5. South Fork, Colorado. South Fork, Colorado sits at 8,200 feet elevation in the Rio Grande River Valley, surrounded by the San Juan Mountains, some of the most dramatic landscape in the continental United States. Population, about 600 people. This is not a famous town. It doesn't have a Prada installation or a world-class telescope or a celebrity chef. It has elk. It has fishing. It has the kind of quiet that people who live near cities drive 8 hours to find for a weekend and then immediately start posting about on Instagram, which defeats the purpose, but here we are. And the locals, ranching families, river guides, people who chose this specific elevation and this specific silence, have watched the remote work migration hit every other small Colorado mountain town and are quietly hoping it skips them. The housing prices are still reasonable by Colorado standards, under $400,000 for most properties. The reason is that South Fork doesn't have the name recognition of Telluride or Crested Butte. Telluride is $4 million median. South Fork is under $400,000. The mountains look basically the same. The difference is entirely that one town got a film festival and the other didn't. The locals would like to keep it that way. Please don't share this video with anyone who owns a Patagonia vest. If you're looking for Colorado mountain living without Colorado mountain prices or Colorado mountain crowds, South Fork is on the list of places worth researching. Just don't write an article about it. 6. Centralia, Pennsylvania. Centralia has essentially no residents left to have an opinion about newcomers, but it belongs on this list because it is the most extreme version of a town that does not want you there. In 1962, a coal mine fire started beneath the town. It has been burning ever since. 63 years of underground fire. The ground cracks. Carbon monoxide vents through fissures in the road. The temperature underground in some areas exceeds 900 degrees Fahrenheit. To put that in context, the surface of Venus is about 900 degrees Fahrenheit. Parts of Centralia are as hot as Venus, underground. In Pennsylvania, the state bought out and demolished nearly every structure in the 1980s and 1990s. About 5 residents remain, people who refused to leave and were granted life estates by the state, meaning they can stay until they die, but the property reverts to Pennsylvania afterward. The state of Pennsylvania is essentially waiting them out, which is an unusual negotiating position for a government to take, but here we are. The town doesn't want you there because the ground underneath it is on fire. That's a legitimate reason. It is, in fact, one of the more legitimate reasons on this entire list. And yet, people drive from hundreds of miles away to walk the cracked Route 61, see the steam vents, and photograph what a town looks like when nature decides it's done with you. Centralia has a TripAdvisor page. It has 4.5 stars. Someone gave a town where the ground is on fire 4.5 stars. One person gave it 3 stars. I genuinely want to know what their complaint was. Centralia is technically open for day visits. The 5 remaining residents are reportedly tired of the tourists, which is understandable given that their entire town burned away and people keep showing up to take pictures of it. There's no twist. Don't move to Centralia. Real question. Has anyone here actually been to any of these? Especially Centralia. Drop it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious what it looks like in person. 7. Whittier, Alaska. Last one. And this one earns its place as the most extreme entry on the list. Whittier, Alaska. Population 280. Almost everyone in Whittier lives in a single building. One building. The Begich Towers, a 14-story former military facility that now contains residential apartments, a bed and breakfast, a police station, a church, a health clinic, a laundromat, a convenience store, and a mayor's office. The town is accessible by one road, a single-lane tunnel through a mountain that is shared with a railroad track and closes at night and in bad weather. There is no other way in or out by land. Whittier residents chose this. They chose a life where their entire community is within one building, accessible by one tunnel, surrounded by Prince William Sound and glaciers, and the kind of wilderness that makes Alaska genuinely alien. They are not unfriendly, but they chose isolation as a feature, not a bug. Newcomers who arrive expecting a normal small town and find a single 14-story Soviet-era military building tend to leave quickly. Whittier is one of the most photographed small towns in America, precisely because it looks like nowhere else on Earth. The fishing is world-class. The glaciers are accessible by boat, and if you've ever wanted to know what it would feel like to live in a post-apocalyptic fortress surrounded by Alaskan wilderness, Whittier has a bed and breakfast. It's in the building, obviously. 7 towns. 7 different versions of we'd rather you didn't. Here's the pattern I notice every time. The places that work hardest to stay undiscovered are usually the places that have something genuinely worth protecting. The places that actively market themselves, usually trying to compensate for something. Subscribe. Drop a comment. Which of these did you already know about? And which one surprised you most? See you in the next one.